Good evening, everyone. My name is Mackenzie Smith, and I'm the University Librarian and Vice Provost of Digital Scholarship here at UC Davis. I want to start by saying that for the best experience of this event, we recommend that you use the speaker view on Zoom, but that's the last of my logistical advice. It is my great pleasure to welcome you all to the 2021 Lang Prize Awards ceremony, held virtually for the second and hopefully last time. I'm really sorry that we can't be together in the library to celebrate this year's awardees, but I look forward to being back on campus in the fall and hopefully with all of you next year. The Lang Prize recognizes undergraduate students who have made exceptional use of the library resources for a research project of their own design. By highlighting excellence in undergraduate research, we hope to inspire more students to explore the vast resources available to them through the library. Before we begin the program, I'd like to take a moment to thank all of the students who applied and who completed the phenomenal research projects you'll hear about tonight, despite the rough circumstances of the past year, the committee who judged the applications, the library team who organized this virtual event, all of you for joining us on Zoom tonight, and of course, Norma Lang and the Lang family, without whom there would be no prize. We're honored to have a representative of the Lang family here with us tonight. So let me introduce him to you and invite him to say a few words. Andy Lang is the nephew of the late Professor Emerita Norma Lang, for whom the prize is named. Professor Lang taught botany here at UC Davis for nearly 30 years and is warmly remembered for two passions: her dedication to her students and her love of research. Thanks to a generous gift that Professor Lang left to the library, we were able to create this prize in her honor and in recognition of these two passions. Her nephew Andy is joining us remotely from his home in Wyoming tonight to share a few words with you about his aunt. Andy, the floor is yours.
Mackenzie, thank you very much. I appreciate that introduction. I want to thank all the participants, past and present. It's a pleasure to participate in this 5th annual award of the Norma J. Lang, I have to say Aunt Norma, but Norma J. Lang Student Research Prize. Quite impressive that we're already into our 5th year and the Lang Prize continues to gain prestige and enthusiasm at the Davis campus. Special thanks to Mackenzie, to Tony Elianis, Beth Callahan, and many others in the library who have made their own contributions to another successful Lang Prize event, despite the challenges created by the pandemic. Zoom has now become a way of life for so many of us. I feel like I'm on Zoom calls several times a week, and I'm in retirement. But speaking for myself and being in Wyoming, I'm happy to see things beginning to return to normal. This prize has become such a wonderful tribute to the legacy of my late aunt, Professor Norma J. Lang. She would be so pleased and impressed with the outstanding qualities of the papers that have been presented. For some quick background, for probably most of you who are not familiar with her, she was the younger sister of my late father and daughter of Dave and Mary Lang. Her father was a freight agent for the B&O Railroad, starting in Dallas and working his way to Toledo, Ohio. Norma was born in Memphis, Tennessee. She started her collegiate work at Bowling Green University in Ohio, finished her undergraduate degree in biology at Ohio State University in Columbus, and then on to Indiana University for her doctorate. Her educational training then continued with postdoctorate work at the University of Texas, which just happens to be my alma mater. And she was there as a national NIH postdoc fellow. From UT and Austin, she joined the UC University of California faculty at Davis, where she remained for the remainder of her teaching career of nearly 30 years. During that time, she distinguished herself in teaching and research. Her research was leading edge in its time in the use of electron microscopy for structure analysis of algae, and specifically blue-green algae. She was recognized for her research studies and leadership with numerous awards that you can awards that you would find in her biography. But what I want to highlight is her love of teaching and working with students. She was known for being demanding, sometimes with a bit of an edge, pushing her students to high standards, but also known for having a kind edge and generosity to those who wanted to engage in her teaching. After retiring from UC Davis, she continued teaching by supporting adult literacy, largely to disadvantaged women at the Woodland Library. She held a very strong conviction for giving back to the community and society from which she was afforded such rewarding opportunities. And the message I want to leave with our award recipients, as well as everybody in the audience, the message I want to leave today is, remember the great opportunity you have been provided by this outstanding educational institution, UC Davis. As you secure your future success, remember UC Davis. And selfishly, I'd love to see you help grow this wonderful endowment, the Norma J. Lang Student Research Endowment. I want to congratulate each of you. I've thoroughly enjoyed reading your papers. I must admit, largely over my head, but quite interesting nonetheless, and some of them with the focus on the COVID world that we're all living with. But again, great papers. I wish you the best in your future endeavors. And again, my special thanks to the Shields Library Organization. I really look forward to the breakout sessions with your award winners, and look forward to next year when we're hopefully confidently going to be doing this back in the live form, back at the library. With that, I'll pass it on back to Beth.
Thank you, Andy, for sharing your thoughts and memories of your aunt with us. It brings her just closer and closer to us as we understand her passions and her impact on science. And as the chair of the Lang Prize Committee, I am honored to have Professor J. David Furlow with us to share welcoming remarks. Dave Furlow is the Associate Dean for Undergraduate Education and Director of the University Honors and First Year Seminar Programs, positions he has held since 2015. The University Honor Program represents 50 years of continued academic excellence in innovation and interdisciplinary teaching and learning, and fostering a community of civilly engaged scholars and future leaders. The First Year Seminar Program at UC Davis, now over 30 years old, continues to provide one of the best regarded high impact practices in higher education, serving undergraduates in their first year in college. Over the past 5 years, the FYS program has doubled in offerings and enrollment, and invested in new seminar styles that allow students to engage in faculty-led original research and helped first-generation students connect to the university, among several collaborative efforts that focus directly on new student academic success and a sense of belonging. Dave has also served on the faculty of UC Davis since 1998, and is a professor of neurobiology, physiology, and behavior. His research is on the roles of thyroid hormones and other endocrine factors in vertebrate development, and has been funded by the NIH, the US EPA, and European agencies. He has been a visiting faculty member at the Marine Biological Laboratories in Woods Hole, Massachusetts, and the European Molecular Biology Laboratory in Heidelberg, Germany. Thanks for joining us, David, to offer opening remarks and welcoming remarks.
Beth, thank you very much for that very, very generous introduction. I think that's almost as long as my remarks, and so I hopefully will kind of keep it in that range. But you'll notice that I chose this background specifically because I too look forward to the time that we can gather in that wonderful space at the heart of the library behind us that really is right at the center of learning and studying, and indeed research that goes on for undergraduates, our graduate students, and our faculty. So looking forward to that day for sure. So it's really a pleasure to be here. And my role, I think, right, is to represent the campus, but the administration, but also indeed the Office of Undergraduate Education. The University Library is absolutely our partner in ensuring undergraduate student success across all of our demographics, all of our students that come in with wonderful assets, but also we're trying to make sure that they all have the support that they need. And it takes a lot of us, not only our office, the undergraduate colleges, but indeed the University Library. This is really my favorite time of the year. This is award season. And so we have all kinds of awards going on. It's not the Oscars per se, right? But better than that, right? We're recognizing undergraduate student success, and we have graduation coming up with, my goodness, even some in-person activities. So I want to acknowledge first the library as a steward of the prize, the host of the award, to reinforce that we all work together in the student journey from day one when they set foot on campus. And so that includes then the faculty, UWP lectures. It involves certainly our librarians, the TAs, staff. It takes certainly the UC Davis Village to support all of our students, and we do it all together. So many of our community here at UC Davis give so much of themselves in ensuring student success. And if you look at the award winners today, the breadth of the topics that they did their research on, you will also notice that they all pointed in their applications to the impact that the support of all of these community UC Davis members have had on their progress and their success. In addition, I want to also recognize our Emeriti faculty. They certainly have been enormously important partners in the University Honors Program and teach, in fact, in first-year seminars. And so we've benefited directly from their expertise that way. But philanthropy, this generosity of spirit of giving back to the university and supporting our students is certainly exemplified by the Lang Prize. And so we really want to recognize, continue to recognize Professor Lang's gift that has gone to support the excellent research that you will hear more about today. Research and the excellent writing about that research inspires us, can change minds, open hearts, and truly illuminate, and going to the heart, of course, of the UC motto of Fiat Lux. That's all exemplified here. I'm particularly interested this year. We have a science group, right? So as a STEM member myself, including NPB, happy to see all of that. But the university does a tremendous job supporting all students across all of our majors, and Professor Lang's generosity here is absolutely wonderful to recognize that work. So special thank you to Professor Lang. Her legacy lives on through this award. And also thank you to the mentors that helped the students through these projects as well and nominated them. So the prize, while only 5 years old, as noted, is really gaining quite a bit of notoriety, I guess, right? So acknowledgement across campus. Certainly we know all about it in undergraduate education. Our colleges do. Our faculty are increasingly aware and supportive and nominating our students. I'm glad to represent one part of that campus that recognizes the power of recognizing student work. And so thanks again to the Lang family, the memory of Professor Lang, the mentors, the library for hosting it, our wonderful students for their submissions and their hard work here. And we celebrate your accomplishments. So thank you all on behalf of the campus and the faculty together. Thank you.
Thank you, Dave, for your warm welcoming remarks and your continued partnership in supporting our undergrad students. Before we hear from our students, I'll ask that members in the audience share your congratulations and praise for a job well done in our chat room feature. We have a number of presentations today, and we want to be sure we have time for our students to give a brief overview for each project. If you want to know more about the student project, you can read all about them at our Lang Prize Library page on our website. At this time, I also want to quickly acknowledge how grateful I am to our prize judges, some of whom who have been with us since the beginning. We appreciate their willingness to serve. To begin the award presentation, I am pleased to present the first place prize for arts, humanities, and social sciences to Natasong Yuan, who is joining us from Thailand. Natasong?
Hi. So I'll giving a speech. It all started when a guest speaker appeared in one of my lectures for the Flower Power class I was taking last quarter, and she introduced us to botanical art and to the American Society of Botanical Artists. I hadn't thought much about it until confronted with the choice of what to write about in my university writing program class. Because of botanical art's scientific contributions, unique art history that requires botanical expertise, and my personal fascination in these artworks, I decided to conduct research into the American Society of Botanical Artists as a discourse community for my UWP project. After all, botanical art has helped us advance our civilization in science, art, medicine, agriculture, and many more, especially in times when cameras weren't invented. As I researched, I found my project's purpose was to raise awareness on the historical significance of botanical art and its forms and practices in present time, while hopefully enticing audiences to appreciate and support this art form as I had while composing this paper. An obstacle I encountered was the limited amount of public domain botanical artworks I could find with my average Googling skills. I felt these artworks were really important to include in my paper, as the numerous vibrantly colored illustrations were what attracted me to research this project in the first place. If I was hoping to entice audiences into this art appreciation, then surely a visual aid may benefit more than a written description. So I utilized Davis's online library search engine and was led to archives of hundreds of illustrations since the 18th century that were all public domain, including an extensive digitally scanned 19th century magazine collection filled with paintings and description, and the GSTOR Global Plants database, which contained numerous illustrations with important descriptions such as artist, collection date, herbarium, distribution location, and many more. Along with these resources, I was able to easily cite my sources fully. Looking through these archives and magazines have actually surprisingly inspired me more to research and write into this paper. Because of this experience, I plan to utilize the library search engine and hopefully the real library when campus returns to in-person classes towards all future research projects. I'm even currently utilizing the search engine to work on a research term paper for my evolution of crop plants class this quarter. So thank you to all the library staff and Blank Prize community for selecting my paper. It means a lot to me. And I would also like to give a shout out to my UWP1 TA, Jason, for encouraging me to submit the paper and helping me with revisions. And thank you to my family members and friends for attending today. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. And congratulations, Natasong. Woo! We're so glad to have you join us from Thailand. Moving on, in the science, engineering, and math category, I'd like to recognize our third place winner, Larissa Vasquez. She's unable to join us this evening, so I'd like to tell you a little bit about her project. Larissa's project was completed in summer 2020 for her human development course called Longevity. Larissa's sponsor is the distinguished Professor James Carey, who is in the entomology and nematology department. Larissa's paper focused on the immune response to COVID-19. She pulled from a diverse range of sources, including autopsy reports, data from the Centers for the Disease Control and Prevention, and peer-reviewed articles. In her application, Larissa wrote the following about what she learned through the research process. Rather than rely on appeals to authority, misinformation, or consensus-formed opinions about COVID, I felt empowered to research so that I could be in control of what I understood. Sharing that information with others is the purpose of her review. Congratulations, Larissa, on your achievement. Our second place winner in this category is Catherine Hand. Catherine's project was completed in winter 2021 in the University Writing Program Advanced Composition class. Catherine's sponsor is Professor Bradley Sekundat, who is a member of the University Writing Program. Catherine, please tell us about your project.
Hello, my name is Catherine. I want to take a moment to thank everyone here today, the Lang family, Ruth and Sheena, who are librarians from the UC Davis Library, and my Professor Bradley, who have all helped me in the development and research of my paper. If it were not for all of you, I would not be here today. It is a huge honor to be here receiving this award. The paper I wrote for UWP 101 last winter is titled The Secret Life of Bacteriophages, How Did They Originate? The idea behind my paper started during fall quarter in my Biz 2C class when Dr. Eisen made a guest appearance to discuss the viruses and COVID-19. I remember this being one of the first times where I felt a connection to a topic in my class, and I immediately wanted to know more about it. So when it came to picking a topic for my research project for UWP 101, I knew exactly what it would be. A bacteriophage is a type of virus that infects bacteria. The hypothesis I developed was to assess how bacteriophages can be a hidden mutation of early bacterial defense mechanisms where there was an accumulation of proteins that should not have bound together over time and self-infected a bacteria cell from within. In my research, I focused on phage and bacteria coevolution and broke down the structure of the bacteriophage to focus primarily on its head and its tails. Through my research and hypothesis, I developed answers to questions, such as how are there different types of viruses, why are bacteriophages interacting with our immune systems, and more. When I met with Ruth and Sheena on Zoom, we found that there was limited research conducted on my topic. I spent an hour learning from Ruth and Sheena how to use different databases like Biosis, Web of Science, and the Shields Library Catalog. They were always open to helping me over email as well. Sheena also went out of her way to help find me background resources about my topic to help me learn more about my topic and to help me in my research paper. Before I started my research journey, I felt completely lost. But Ruth, Sheena, and the resources offered by the UC Davis Library helped me find my way again. I spent hours on Biosis and the Shields Library Catalog, searching for studies and sources that would support my hypothesis. When it came to deciding which sources I wanted to use, I wanted to ensure that if I used, for example, a study from the 1980s, I would follow up with a study from 2020 as a way to build up from the previous discoveries and questions. One thing that I found really interesting was learning how in one study conducted that the tails of a bacteriophage can be used as legs. So the researchers in this study actually observed a bacteriophage walking and scanning for a location on a bacterial cell. In my research, I faced many bumps in the road when it came to trying to answer many of the questions I had. But with the help of the library, I was able to succeed. I am grateful for Ruth and Sheena's help and the library resources for helping to make my research project possible. The research skills they taught me are something I will never forget, and I plan to use these skills in future papers that I will write. I want to continue my scientific career in graduate school and pursue this topic further in the future. I would like to once again thank the Lang family for this award. Thank you, Ruth, Sheena, the UC Davis Library, my friends and family who have all supported me. Thank you, everyone.
Congratulations, Catherine. Our first place winner in science, engineering, and math is Barry Nguyen. Barry's project was completed in the summer 2020 quarter for the human development course called Longevity. Barry's sponsor is Distinguished Professor James Carey, who is in the entomology and nematology department. Barry, tell us more about your project.
Hello, everyone. My name is Barry Nguyen, and I am a second-year student studying biochemistry and molecular biology. Before I begin discussing my research project, I would like to first thank everyone who was involved in putting this event together. I would also like to thank my professor, Dr. James Carey, for his amazing support. Finally, I would like to thank my family and friends who took time out of their day to be here today. I'm humbled and proud to be a recipient of the Lang Prize and to have my scientific paper recognized. My paper is titled Allostasis of Fundamental Biology and Implications for Longevity in Social Classes. It is roughly a 14-page review in which I discuss the biological process of allostasis. For those of you who are unfamiliar, allostasis is a stress response much like homeostasis, but instead of maintaining the body's internal conditions within narrow ranges, allostasis makes changes to the body's parameters to appropriately meet external demands. In other words, homeostasis revolves around a set mean value, while allostasis deviates from it. What I found quite fascinating was that repeatedly activating this process over time can actually damage the associated physiological systems itself and lead to brain damage. This malfunctioning state is a characteristic of allostatic load, a state that describes the negative effects caused by a damaged allostatic process. I then discussed allostatic load, which I will refer to as AL, further and explain how it could be utilized in the discussion of mortality across social classes. For example, by using educational years as a means to measure social class, science has found a relationship between social classes and AL. Specifically, higher AL measurements were more prominent in lower social classes. In the same study, mortality rates were also seen much higher in lower social classes. Taken together, a higher AL measurement may confer a higher risk of death. At the end of the project, I realized an interesting irony. Overusing the allostatic process, a system designed to help us deal with stress, can actually damage it, further propagating the damages associated with stress. Overall, this project proved to be very impactful for me. I realized my love for scientific writing and as a result, chose to join as an editor on the Aggie Transcript, which is a life science journal here on campus. I also learned how to efficiently organize references and utilize the library's vast resources. Finding a way to organize and retrieve resources was undoubtedly one of the most challenging parts of the process, but I was able to devise an efficient method. Most importantly, I realized how collaborative the whole scientific process really is. I would never imagine that a term paper I wrote for my longevity class could have such an impact on my academic interests. Thank you everyone for coming today.
Congratulations, Barry. Let's share a round of virtual applause for all our winners in chat. Before we conclude, we'd like to first ask all of this year's prize winners to turn on their video for a virtual group photo. Friends, family, faculty, thank you all for joining us this evening to celebrate these students and their achievements.